Hello. Okay, no effort is going to go into this. No intro, no script, nothing. I'm not even using a pop filter. That's how little of a fuck I give. Okay, so I've just beaten Tekken 7. Well, an hour ago I had to make dinner, but the point is I've beaten Tekken 7 today. 2 hours after buying it. And it's by far the worst game I've played this year. For everyone who says, what about Mass Effect Andromeda or anything like that? No, I don't care what it is. This is the worst game I've played this year. The worst. It's awful. Shit. I hate it. Everything about this game just doesn't resonate well with me at all. But I'm going to explain why as quickly as I can. Okay, first of all, what the flying fuck have Namco Bandai added since Tekken 6? Please, somebody enlighten me. What has changed? Or, a better question, how much have they kept? They've actually taken more from the game than they've put back in. Loads of modes are now missing, and the only thing that's left in single player is a shitty arcade port, the story mode, which I'll get to in a second. There's the inadequate as fuck versus mode because there's no team battle, and there's also a inferior version of the ghost battle mode because you can't pick your own opponents anymore, so what's the fucking point? Also, it gives you rewards now instead of allowing you to buy them yourself, which again is a great thing. So yeah, that's the whole game reviewed. There's nothing else to say about it. There's the online, but I don't see that changing at all, so fuck it. It can't be as good as Injustice, I know that much. So, okay, the campaign. So, the first thing I know Namco Bandai did when they finished this game was say, oh shit, why did we make Tekken 6 a bridging game? We should have ended it there, so we could start a new campaign with this one, start a new storyline. Let's have the Kazuya versus Heihachi fight as its own game, get 50 quid out the fan base, and then start again in Tekken 8. To make this shitty fucking finale, it has taken them 8 years. Fallout 4, Persona 5, both of those games took 8 years. Mass Effect Andromeda took 5. All 3 of those games look like God in comparison to this. The campaign is 20 fights long, give or take. It looks worse than Tekken 6, and they are so lazy that they even splice fucking stock footage from Tekken 6 and 5 and 4 even into this campaign. Now, I am going to let them off when they have it on in a monitor or in a flashback scene, with the exception of one flashback scene which I'm going to fucking crucify. But there is like one thing in a fight where it keeps showing you screenshots of the Tekken 4 intro. That's okay by me because, you know, that happened and there's no point in reanimating that for one screenshot. Fair enough, okay. But then they have the premeditated fucking goal to try and splice 2005 Tekken 5 intro scene footage with the fights from Tekken 7, a game made 12 years after. Why do I even have to explain why that doesn't work? You know what really gives it away though? The Tekken 5 graphics actually look way better than this one. I know they're a lot more polygon-y, but the textures look better, by far, and it actually looks good for its time, unlike this fucking thing. And everything about this game is just completely inept, but not in a fun way like Dead or Alive, it is just inept. One thing about the story campaign that I want to address is that the developers clearly didn't give a fuck about any of it. The story is a complete waste of time. There isn't a single moment in the first 15 chapters where anything matters. You can skip to chapter 15. If you find a way, do it. There's no point. One thing that I find pretty goddamn funny is that there is actually this journalist character who acts as a transition. And he has these static cartoon images, which just screams lazy to me. But because this isn't a PSP game, okay? You can have fully rendered cutscenes in your PS4 game, especially when you've cut half of the game to make this thing. Okay, you need Content, Namco. You can't release games without content. Soul Calibur 5 should have been a disaster for you. But no, it was the day that you realised you'd never have to try ever again. Well, this reporter guy, right? His lines have nothing to do with the plot. He doesn't appear in the game except for one chapter at the end, which is chapter 15, the only part where it matters, and it doesn't matter. That's the hilarious thing. It matters, but it doesn't. It's a contrived setup to give you the backstory of Kazumi, who is a character who they put so much emphasis on in E3, and she's only in it for one fucking chapter, in a flashback. So yeah, there's that. I honestly thought she was going to return or some shit to raise the stakes, but that doesn't happen. Yeah, but this guy, he has these long, drawn-out, boring fucking cutscenes that aren't even cutscenes. They're animated movies. No, in fact, they're not even animated. They're still shots with a narration over them. That's how boring and shit they are. And at the end of the day, I am just fucking livid at how lazy Namco Bandai are for making this game just so inept, and not in a fun way. Dead or Alive was inept but fun. It was the result of a bunch of people trying but not having a fucking clue what they were doing, and therefore it was actually entertaining. This is so boring. There is 15 chapters of padding, and then it gets pretty good. You actually have a fight between Kazuya and Heihachi. That is probably my favourite bit in the game, simply because it's what they promised and they delivered on that promise. The only thing that I can say is, despite the fact... Actually, no, there's two things. One, after playing Injustice, I found it really stupid that you have to play one of the two characters. So you don't get a choice between Kazuya and Heihachi. You can only play as one, and the game decides that for you. Arguably, you think that Kazuya would be seen as the slightly more heroic one. I think people can call him an anti-hero rather than a straight-up villain, but apparently not. But another thing as well is that the actual fight in itself is really good up until the point where they realise that it's not been long enough, so they actually make you do it again with 10% of your health. Yeah, that's not a joke, they actually do that. Granted, your health means more, but you still only have 10% of what you should have. The only thing that's more insulting than this campaign mode is the individual character stories, which are the worst fucking things. They're worse than nothing. They are shit. Every ending was made in an afternoon. Guarantee it. It was written, animated, and rendered in an afternoon. You cannot convince me that any amount of effort went into these endings. Like, at all, because they're shit. What else is there? I don't even know. Obviously, I'm not trying, because they didn't try. So why should I put more effort into this review than they did for the game? Fuck them. Fuck these people. Fuck Bandai Namco. Sorry. Never buying one of their games again. That's a promise, that. I'm not buying one of their games. I'm not buying Soul Calibur 6. I am not buying anything that's not a Tekken tag game, because they actually did okay with that. This game is a fucking shambles. I know people who know me will probably say, well, do you regret getting the collector's edition, which was a big ass fucking statue? No, not really. I like that statue a lot. That's the only thing that I can say is good about this, my entire experience. I love that statue. But aside from that, this game is the worst game I've played this year, and it's the biggest disappointment I've ever had since Rayman Raving Rabbids. I can't believe either that IGN and a bunch of other people are giving this 9 out of 10. Why is it getting 9 out of 10? There's nothing to give 9 out of 10 to. There is no new content, there's nothing. This game is just horrendously shit. And if I was you, even if you're a huge Tekken fan, don't buy this until it's bargain price, because it's shit. I'm going to work on 12.5 over the next few days. Until then, I'm going to have to up the dosage on my stress pills, because this game is actually giving me heartburn. It actually pisses me off so much. 8 years of waiting, and this inept piece of shit is all that they were able to give us. Yeah. Fuck this game.